You did ask some questions during a House Homeland Security Committee hearing, and you questioned the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner. Just what did you think of that hearing, his responses? And I know that you said you don't want a Monday morning quarterback just yet, but do you think this is a failure of local law enforcement, Secret Service, or both?
I think right now it's a failure of protecting the asset, as we refer to in general. I'm not certain who the finger is to point at yet, but what I do know is that there are some serious questions that need to be answered. I know that we not only failed President Trump, we failed the American people, and we certainly failed the victims. The firefighter who lost his life protecting his family and those who were injured, we failed them. And for that, there are questions that must be answered, and there are those that need to be held accountable. And this is not about political rhetoric. And I actually feel pretty good about the fact that I think the committees of jurisdiction and members, my colleagues on both sides of the aisle in the House, have been pretty apolitical about investigating this incident. And I have spoken to some of my colleagues on the furthest left of their aisle, and I think the genuine feeling is that we need to get to the bottom of this so it never happens again.
I mean, to your point, members from both parties have called for the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, to step down. She did resign a day after that House Oversight Committee hearing. Do you think that's enough?
No, I don't think it's enough. I think that what we're dealing with is probably something systemic, and it is a situation that, again, we really need to get to the bottom of it. And this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen after one committee hearing. This is going to take an investigation looking into how the planning goes for incidents like this, the communication between the local, state, and federal agencies, the cooperation that is being had between the Secret Service and the those who are requesting the protection. All of that needs to be taken into consideration. I think the failure of the director of the Secret Service, that was obviously the most obvious, and I'm thankful that she resigned. I think that we without a doubt needed new leadership in the Secret Service, but that the end of the investigation is not near. We need to take every opportunity that we can, again, to address exactly how the Secret Service plans for these types of incidents, the communication that they have or don't have, the interaction between the local agencies. And that's not just communication while at the incident, but actually leading up to the incident and planning for the incident. I mean, when we spoke to the colonel in charge of the Pennsylvania State Police, he said and testified on the record that he had no knowledge of the plan that was in place for that day. He never actually saw the plan. Was he in communication? Yes, he received an email saying that there was going to be a rally requesting assets from the state police, but the actual plan in writing for that day, at least he said he never had his eyes on. So I think that there's a failure in many parts. I think that this is a situation where, again, very often the Secret Service comes into places, especially a place like this, which is somewhat of a smaller community, and the communication just falls apart because perhaps the local agencies think, all right, the Secret Service has this, but this is not about one law enforcement agency taking the lead. This is about law enforcement professionals working together in order to protect not only President Trump in this situation, but protect all of the attendees.
So, just to summarize what you're saying, you don't think that this was a one off incident. You think that there is a systemic problem within the Secret Service.
I think that there's a systemic problem within communication of law enforcement agencies. Yes, I think that that has been the case for a long time. The ability for us to communicate between multiple agencies has always been difficult, and with the concern of cybersecurity issues and hacking issues, it's only become worse and more difficult. But we have to find a way to, in situations like this, be able to communicate critical information. I mean, looking at the timeline, which will become more concrete in the weeks ahead, they had ample time to notify the team around President Trump to say, listen, we think something's going on. Perhaps the president should wait a few minutes and not take the stage yet. We have an incident, and we really want to get the president off the stage now. Wherever that fell into the time frame, the opportunity was there, and we failed. And I say we as a whole, we were failed because communication fell apart.
Congressman, we will leave it there. Per usual, I appreciate the conversation. Thanks for coming on.
Of course, thank you.